Man-at-Arms is He-Man's closest ally, originally packaged in the Mattel toy line as the heroic master of weapons. He is Teela's adoptive father and is the inventor of most of the weaponry and vehicles used by the heroic warriors. The original mini-comics depicted him as the latest in a long family line of great warriors and inventors, who uses the material resources at his disposal to aid He-Man. The cartoon series He-Man and the Masters of the Universe by Filmation portrayed him as the man-at-arms to King Randor and Queen Marlena of Eternia, who holds residency at the Royal Palace, where his workshop is based. Since Man-at-Arms is actually a title, not a name, the character is also known as Duncan. This portrayal has been adopted by most subsequent versions of the franchise. The cartoon portrayed Man-at-Arms as a mentor to Prince Adam, and as such he was one of the few people aware that Prince Adam and He-Man were one and the same. In the He-Man and Shera the Secret of the Sword movie, it is revealed that Man-at-Arms' heroic intrusion on Hordak's abduction of an infant Princess Adora prevented the villain from also abducting Prince Adam. The live-action movie's portrayal of Man-at-Arms was similar to that of the cartoon, although he seemed to be a seasoned war veteran and possibly the biological father of Teela rather than adopted. The 2002 cartoon series' portrayal of the character was mostly consistent with that of Filmation. The show also reveals that Man-at-Arms served as one of King Randor's chief supporters back during the Great Unrest, before the Council of Elders informed then-Captain Randor that his destiny was to be King of Eternia. Man-at-Arms designs and builds weapons and other technology for the royal family. He also helps train the Royal Guard, Teela, Prince Adam, and the other Masters of the Universe. In the 2002 series, Man-at-Arms sports a short topknot, and the armor on his left arm transforms into a different built-in weapons and tools. This newer Man-at-Arms is also older, more grizzled, and has more of a military bearing than the original 1980s version. The original Man-at-Arms action figure comes with a club, but the character was rarely ever seen with it in the cartoon. The figure did not have the mustache seen on the character in the cartoon. In the 2021 series, Man-at-Arms is depicted as a friend of Teela. Man-at-Arms was voiced by Alan Oppenheimer in the 1980 series, Gary Chalk in the 2002 series, Liam Cunningham in Masters of the Universe, Revelation, and Anthony Del Rio in the 2021 series. In the 1980s live-action movie, he is portrayed by John Cipher. A man-at-arms was a soldier of the high medieval to Renaissance periods who was typically well-versed in the use of arms and served as a fully armored heavy cavalryman. A man-at-arms could be a knight or other nobleman, a member of a knight's or nobleman's retinue, or a mercenary in a company serving under a captain. Such men could serve for pay or through a feudal obligation. The terms knight and man-at-arms are often used interchangeably, but while all knights equipped for war were men-at-arms, not all men-at-arms were knights. The military function that a man-at-arms performed was serving as a fully armored heavy cavalryman, though he could, and in the 14th and 15th centuries often did, also fight on foot. In the course of the 16th century, the man-at-arms was gradually replaced by other cavalry types, the demi-lancer and the cuirassier, characterized by less extensive armor coverage and the use of weapons other than the heavy lance. Armor of an early 16th century man-at-arms. Throughout the medieval period and into the Renaissance, the armor of the man-at-arms became progressively more effective and expensive. Throughout the 14th century, the armor worn by a man-at-arms was a composite of materials. Over a quilted gambeson, mail armor covered the body, limbs, and head. Increasingly during the century, the mail was supplemented by plate armor on the body and limbs. In the 15th century, full-plate armor was developed, which reduced the mail component to a few points of flexible reinforcement. From the 14th to 16th century, the primary weapon of the man-at-arms on horseback was the lance. The lance of the 14th century was essentially a simple spear, 12 feet, 3.7 meters in length, usually of ash. In response to the development of improved armor, however, heavier lances weighing up to 18 kilograms, 40 pounds, were developed, combined with a new method of using them in conjunction with a lance rest, arret fixed to the breastplate. This combination of heavy lance and arret enabled the mounted man-at-arms to enjoy a new effectiveness on the battlefields of the later 15th and 16th centuries. Not all men-at-arms in the 15th century carried the heavy lance. A lighter weapon called a demi-lance evolved, and this gave its name to a new class of a lighter-equipped man-at-arms, the demi-lancer, towards the end of the 15th century. When fighting on foot, men-at-arms initially modified their ordinary cavalry weapons. English men-at-arms in Italy in the 1360s are recorded as advancing in close order, with 2 men holding a cavalry lance. On other occasions, such as at the Battle of Agincourt, men-at-arms cut down their lances to a more manageable size of 5 feet, 1.5 meters. In the 15th century, the increased protection of plate armor led to the development of a specialist foot combat weapon, the two-handed poleaxe. Man-at-arms was present at the royal palace of Eternos when the Orlax of Primerius suddenly appeared and caused King Rander to fall into a coma. Together with the other heroic warriors, Duncan hurried the king to Castle Grayskull to find a cure. Some time later, after the king had recovered, Tila was about to be promoted to man-at-arms, and Duncan, her adopted father and current man-at-arms, was beaming with pride. During the ceremony, a call for help came from the sorceress, who was under attack from Skeletor inside Castle Grayskull. Duncan told Tila to lead the battle as the new royal man-at-arms while he himself led a fleet of royal guards flying sky sleds into the fray. Jumping down onto a moving rodent, man-at-arms knocked out Trapjaw and took his place. When Beastman tried to crush Duncan with the mace of his Bashosaurus, He-Man arrived in the nick of time to catch the deadly weapon and save his old friend. Making his way inside Grayskull, Man-at-Arms used his wrist-mounted laser to split Faker in two and save Tila from the robotic horse Night Stalker by knocking it out with a single punch to the jaw. He then told Tila to go down into the heart of the castle in search of Skeletor. Man-at-Arms was not present during the final confrontation between He-Man and Skeletor, which ended with both of them being disintegrated by a magical explosion and Tila finally learning He-Man's secret identity of Prince Adam. Back at the royal palace, it fell to Duncan to inform the king and queen that He-Man had sacrificed his life. Queen Marlena immediately realized this meant her son had died, but the king was still unaware. Duncan confirmed that the queen was correct about Adam, and revealed that the prince ordered him and a select few not to tell anyone. But outraged by their deceit, Rander stripped Duncan of his royal title and banished him from the palace forever. If Duncan were ever to appear in front of the king again, he would be executed. Rander ordered Tila to remove Duncan from the palace, but, feeling equally betrayed by Adam's secret, Tila decided to renounce her position in the palace as well. Unable to ever handle any weapons again on pain of death, Duncan went into hiding. He settled down in a small cottage, and in the times that followed was joined by his creation Roboto, who saw Duncan as his father, as well as by Orko, who had also been sent away from the palace, and was fast losing his health because all the magic that used to be so abundant on the planet Eternia was fading into nothingness. Duncan went to great lengths to fetch a small amount of water from one of the last remaining magic fountains for the ailing Trollin. During one of his trips to the magic fountain, Duncan came to the aid of an elderly man who had stumbled and fallen, and then found himself fending off the cultists of Motherboard led by Triclops who had come to destroy the magical remnant. A group of traveling warriors joined the fight, and after the cultists retreated, Duncan was reunited with Tila, who told him she needed his help to reforge the two separated halves of the Sword of Power. Duncan refused, not only because he was forbidden to do any metalwork by law, but also because he saw himself as unfit to offer any kind of services to anyone ever again. However, Roboto, who had been programmed with the younger Duncan's memories, proposed to help forge the sword and help to recover the two halves in order to do so. This made Duncan change his mind, only for Tila to tell him that his skills would be of better use protecting the sorceress at Grayskull, who was now powerless to protect herself. Duncan promised to do as his daughter wished, but still made a detour to the Crystal Sea to save Tila and her companions from an attack by Merman and the Aquaticans, just as he had saved her and He-Man in the same location years earlier. After making sure Merman was defeated, Duncan left and headed for Grayskull as promised. Triclops and Motherboard began to repeatedly attack the castle, which now resembled its true form of the ancient Hall of Wisdom, only without its powerful magical defenses. But Man-at-Arms managed to hold them back, using all of the arsenal at his disposal each time they came. Duncan was amazed when Tila and her band returned from their quest to the Eternian versions of Heaven and Hell with a resurrected Adam in tow. When Adam went down into the heart of Grayskull to call upon its power and return the magic to Eternia, Duncan remained in the throne room to watch the sorceress regain her strength. Duncan stands at 6 foot 3 inches tall and weighing about 243 pounds, boasting an extremely muscular physique. Abilities and skills. Peak human conditioning. Duncan is in peak physical condition. Through his rigorous training and exercise regimes, he developed levels of strength, speed, endurance, reflexes, longevity, metabolism, and immune system efficiency near the absolute limits of human capability. Master of weaponry. As an authority on modern warfare, Duncan is a recipient of multidisciplinary military knowledge from the heroic warriors' wars and battles. Thanks to this and continued training, Duncan is a master of many weapons, favoring long-range shooting weapons. Duncan's ever-changing arsenal of weaponry includes various automatic and semi-automatic rifles and an array of handguns. Master Marksman. Duncan is a sharpshooter and exceptional marksman with many types of firearms, often depicted as being ambidextrous and rarely missing his target. Expert Combatant. Duncan is very skilled at the art of unarmed combat. While he usually avoided fighting unarmed, he's more than capable of defeating most opponents with his bare fists. Luther actor Idris Elba is joining the cast of the live-action Masters of the Universe film. Elba will play Duncan, Man-at-Arms, in the upcoming Travis Knight-directed film for Amazon MGM and Mattel Films. Evil Lynn revealed in the recent Masters of the Universe series that Duncan is considered the most dangerous man in Eternia. Thanks for watching your cinema. Be sure to subscribe for more videos. See you in the next one.